The FIA recently updated its rules and added new technical instructions during the race at Imola, and it looks like McLaren's MCL39 is facing some real challenges because of this. The team from Woking hasn't been performing as strongly on tracks like these as they hoped. Although McLaren's boss, Stella, suggested that the track conditions were the main reason, there might be more going on behind the scenes. Is the FIA tightening regulations in ways that reduce the advantages McLaren had found in the past? More importantly, will these changes continue to affect the MCL39's performance at upcoming races like Barcelona? One thing stands out. McLaren seems to be struggling more with tire management all of a sudden. This problem was clear to see at Imola. Even though Verstappen had a clear track ahead, the McLarens found it difficult to keep pace, despite the safety car bunching up the field toward the end. You might think Piastri was at a disadvantage due to old tires, or Norris didn't get enough chances, but the truth is, Norris spent most of the race in second place in clean air, yet he couldn't put any real pressure on Verstappen. This suggests something important. The new technical rules might have had an impact on how McLaren's tires behave during a race. Although the rules themselves didn't change, clarifications from the FIA seem to have caused problems for McLaren's car setup. The first new technical instruction has two sections. The initial part focuses on how the FIA measures the skid block materials under the cars. Some teams had found clever ways to pass these tests by adjusting the thickness of the plank under the car after the race. This came to light after the FIA tested Piastri's car following the Miami Grand Prix, which raised concerns. The FIA then clarified what types of materials can be used for the skid blocks and how these materials should be attached to the car. This move targets teams trying to run their cars as low to the ground as possible while still passing the minimum plank thickness rules. As a result, teams like McLaren had to raise their car ride height at Imola due to the rough track surface and risk of damaging the skid blocks by the end of the race. This change could also affect their approach at Monaco, where similar challenges exist. Raising the ride height means more air resistance and less downforce, which is not ideal for a car built to be fast in tight corners. The second technical instruction created quite a buzz at Imola. While it wasn't introducing a new rule, it clarified communication between the FIA and teams, including Red Bull, about devices that might help cool the tires during a race. Red Bull had previously accused McLaren of using water inside tire valves to cool the tires faster, a claim quickly denied by Pirelli, saying it's not possible. Still, the FIA noticed some aspects of McLaren's tire cooling system that made them cautious, especially regarding the materials used. The focus shifted to phase-changing materials, PCMs, which had come up after the water valve theory was rejected. Following the latest directive, the FIA banned a range of designs involving water cooling systems or other methods aimed at keeping tires cooler. This is likely why McLaren had to call Piastri in for an early pit stop at Imola, and Norris couldn't keep close enough to Verstappen to apply pressure. Even when the safety car came out, and Piastri was on much older tires, Verstappen managed to increase his lead by 2 seconds in just one lap. At one point during the race, Piastri was close to dropping to 4th place if Albon had successfully overtaken him. All in all, this situation means McLaren has to stay alert and adapt quickly. Christian Horner, the Red Bull team principal, openly discussed this and seemed quite confident after the Imola race. Horner believes the upgrades Red Bull introduced helped them save tires much better. He's also convinced these new rules have impacted McLaren's ability to manage their tires effectively. He said, "We've definitely improved the car's performance and got it into a better operating window. When you reduce sliding, managing tire temperature becomes much easier." This was evident in the first stint, where Verstappen managed his tires better than the drivers behind him, driving smartly while still building a gap. On Friday, McLaren looked fast during long runs, but Red Bull's race pace seemed stronger. In fact, Red Bull's race pace was probably the best since last year's Brazil Grand Prix, which was a wet race. It felt like the first time in a long while that Red Bull could really pull away from McLaren during a race. Verstappen himself has expressed satisfaction with how the car handles now, and both he and his teammate Sergio Perez agree that the upgrades have helped save tires effectively. On the other hand, McLaren has denied all the accusations aimed at them. Stella went as far as saying that teams making such claims should face penalties, including having the investigation costs deducted from their budget next year. She also pointed out that if there were any flexing wings or similar issues, they wouldn't be the reason McLaren is competitive. According to Stella, it's almost good news for McLaren when their rivals focus on unfounded accusations, as it means their competitors aren't concentrating on their own weaknesses. Stella also emphasized that McLaren is focused on the bigger picture, their goal to dominate the sport. The FIA is clearly working to ensure all teams follow the rules strictly, but are McLaren's innovations actually breaking those rules? That's still up for debate. At this point, people can't decide whether to criticize or admire the clever engineering behind McLaren's car. Regardless, starting from Barcelona, the season is set to take a new turn. Fred Vasseur believes this will level the playing field and give teams a fresh chance to compete. Vasseur mentioned that all teams will have new front wings in Barcelona due to regulations and development cycles. He thinks this will reset the performance balance among teams, including McLaren. For McLaren, this means dealing with two main challenges. First, they need to make sure their car fully meets all regulations. Second, they have to prepare so that the Barcelona Grand Prix doesn't hit their performance as hard as some expect. On top of that, both McLaren drivers will want to stay competitive against Verstappen. The battle for the Drivers' Championship is far from over. Verstappen currently trails Piastri by 22 points and Norris by 9 points, so things could still change a lot as the season progresses. Unlike in 2021, when Hamilton had Bottas helping him, McLaren's two drivers are both aiming for the top spot. They will compete hard against each other, which could make things tricky for the team. Meanwhile, Verstappen doesn't have the same level of teammate support as he did back in 2021 with Perez, so facing two strong McLarens alone will be a tough challenge. But it's not unfamiliar territory for him. He's handled pressure like this before. With everything considered, the championship fight in 2025 looks set to be very exciting and competitive. The new technical rules about skid blocks and tire cooling will definitely play a key role in how teams perform going forward. What are your thoughts on how this season is shaping up? And how do you feel about the latest FIA rules affecting tire performance? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments below. If you want more updates and insights, check out the video appearing on your screen right now.